perspective on the immigration issue? How do you see the issue finally being resolved if there is a resolution?
Well, I think there's an easy resolution. I think we could solve illegal immigration tomorrow if we really wanted to by simply increasing the number of people that we admit legally to satisfy our labor needs in this country. It's really not a difficult problem to solve. The problem is that it's become highly emotional. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of fear and anxiety. And unfortunately, some politicians have taken advantage of this. I think they thought it might be a wedge issue that they were going to be able to use to their advantage, which is unfortunate because it is actually extremely important to the future of the United States. I mean, we have a need for labor in the United States. We are a job-creating machine. We create 1 million to 2 million jobs during good economic times in this country, and we simply don't have enough people to fill those jobs. And as a result, I think we ought to be open to bringing in people who want to work, come legally. But right now, our system is such that they can't come legally. We don't have enough slots for them to be able to come legally. So this is a problem that can be fixed. I think we are likely to see a resolution, but I don't think it's going to happen in the next year, maybe not even in the next 2 years. But we will get to a resolution.
Here's a toughie regarding our American-born children of illegal immigrants. If we factor that into a resolution, how can we factor that into the immigration issue?
Well, first of all, we have a very proud history in the United States of welcoming into our country people who are born abroad. We allow them to naturalize and become Americans. There aren't a lot of countries in the world that do this. You know, in Russia, there were many German immigrants in the 19th century. They could live there for generations. They would never become Russians. There were people who immigrated to France. They would never become Frenchmen. And Germans would never become German, even if they, you know, their parents and grandparents had been born there. But we have been different in this country. We also, as a result of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, grant citizenship to anyone who is born on U.S. soil. And so these are American citizens. And I think what is dangerous right now in terms of the tone of the debate and the rhetoric is that, particularly for conservatives, and I am a conservative, is that we are, I think, really in danger of turning off a whole generation of newcomers and citizens and making them believe they are not wanted, they are unwelcome, and I think that's going to be a big problem for the Republican Party in the future.
Regarding the Republican Party, what's your opinion of proposal to change the 14th Amendment from birthright to blood right citizenship?
I think that would be wrong. I frankly don't think that it has any chance of passing whatsoever. You're talking about amending the U.S. Constitution. It would require not just a change in the Constitution. It would require adoption by 2/3 of the state legislatures, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Would you consider yourself a moderate?
No, I consider myself a conservative. And in fact, I think that the conservative principles that I believe in are best exemplified in an immigration policy that is free market oriented, that says that we believe in the free trade, we believe in the free movement of goods, and that we want regulated immigration. But that immigration ought to be regulated by our free market needs, our economic needs as a country. I'm not doing this because it's good for Mexico. I want to do this because it's good for America.
Let's talk about the Latina careers a little bit. What role do you see Latinos playing with our political process?
Well, first of all, you know, because so many Latinos today are not yet citizens, and even those who are citizens do not vote in as high percentage as some other groups, I think we're not yet the political force that we can be. And I think that it's important, first of all, to encourage naturalization. Mexican immigrants, for example, lag in terms of their becoming naturalized citizens. The only other group that lags as far behind as they do are the Canadians. They also are not likely to become citizens. I think we ought to encourage citizenship. We certainly have to encourage the learning of English. I think in order to be able to fully function in this society and to be fully a part of the American mainstream, you have to be English speaking. But I do think that one of the things that I worry about is the way in which this generation of young Latinos and Latinas are going to be turned off by the kind of harsh rhetoric that we've been hearing around the immigration debate.
Yes, I can see that myself. Okay. What does each party need to do more to capture some of the Latino votes and get us to the polls?
Well, interestingly, the Republicans have done so much better with Latino voters than they have with African Americans, for example. If you look, going back really to a lot of people don't know this, but I'm old enough to remember, going really back to the election of Richard Nixon in 1972. He did huge outreach to the Mexican-American community, had what he called a Chicano strategy, made great inroads into that community, won about a third of the Mexican-American vote in 1972. We saw President Reagan won more than 40% of the Latino vote. And then, of course, George W. Bush in 2004 won somewhere between 40 and 44%. There's debate on exactly what percentage he won, but it's at least 40% of the Latino vote. The problem is now I think that's being squandered because of the harsh rhetoric coming out from some Republican politicians, and that's going to endanger some of those inroads, and it is a real danger to the Republican Party because without being able to reach out to the single largest growing population in this country, you could in fact consign yourself to a minority status forever.
Okay. Dr. Graham, on to listeners.
Okay.
The last
Okay.
one's okay. What is your reaction to the Republican-driven Declare English Our Official Language
I
movement?
have no problem with English as our official language. I think as a nation, nations often do have official languages. More of the constitutions in the world have languages in them that don't have languages. So I have no problem with English as the official language. I was once president of U.S. English. I think English is the glue that binds us together. English is an acquired subject. You're not born with it, and so anybody can learn it. And I think for Latinos to be fully integrated into our society, they have to learn English. That doesn't mean that you can't continue to speak Spanish at home if you want, or you can't have your own ethnic organizations, but English is the language of the public square, and I think that Latinos need to do a better job of encouraging newcomers to learn the language, and frankly, their kids are learning it.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
your time.